Sound off with me, folks, on Jaylen Brown going off during the second half, but it not being enough to push the Boston Celtics past the Utah Jazz Monday night at TD Garden. This game came down to the final second, literally, of regulation. This is how it all unfolded. Neemias Queta went to the free throw line with a little over 24 seconds left and the Celtics trailing by 1. He made the first free throw to tie the game up at 103-103. He missed the second. That free throw did not wind up really mattering in the end because here's what happened after that. Boston goes on defense. Utah does not call for a timeout. I was a bit surprised that the Jazz did not call for timeout. It wound up working out for them. Keyonte George, who was the player of the game for the Utah Jazz, wound up scoring 31 points, a team-high 31 points during this game. He's the guy who had the ball in his hands. He winds up driving against, I believe it was Peyton Pritchard, gets down to the baseline, puts up a fadeaway shot from the right baseline, and it misses long. Neemias Queta is trying to box out one of the better rebounders in the league in Jusuf Nurkic, and the ball it bounced far. It went over Queta, and it fell right into Nurkic's arms, and then he turned around and dropped in a hook shot with 0.6 seconds left. So the Celtics are down by 2 at that point. They call timeout. Still time to get off a shot, but that didn't wind up happening. Joe Mazzulla draws up a play, and it winds up going to Jaylen Brown, but a whistle was blown before he caught the inbound pass. He was called for an offensive foul with a little bit of a push-off in trying to free himself up to get into the corner in front of Boston's bench, which is where he did attempt a shot after the whistle was blown. The Boston Celtics actually challenged that shot, challenged the foul that was called on Jaylen Brown, and Joe Mazzulla did not win that challenge. So still 0.6 seconds left on the clock, and all Utah had to do was inbound the ball at that point, and the game was over. So that is what happened during the final 24 or so seconds to deal the Celtics a loss against the Utah Jazz. Utah with an offensive rebound on its final true offensive possession of the night. It was a quality rebound by Jusuf Nurkic, but it wasn't a rebound where you just looked. If you look at the play, it's not like Neemias Queta didn't try to box out. It's not like he didn't give any effort. He did. He was caught in a spot where he was going to try to help if Keyonte George drove to the basket. And then he had to get back when Keyonte George fired up the baseline fadeaway. He had to get back to his man, and he did make contact. He did try to box out. He did get a body on Nurkic. He just wasn't able to push him out far enough to be able to grab the rebound himself. So that's how it all happened. But the Celtics, in my opinion, did not lose this game because of bad rebounding. There are a lot of people out there who are claiming that that is the case. You look at the raw numbers in the box score, everyone's going to freak out. 15 offensive rebounds for the Utah Jazz. Well, guess what? 11 of those offensive rebounds were during the first half, and the Celtics had a double-digit lead during the first half. So that is not where the Celtics lost this game. The Celtics lost this game during the third quarter when they gave up 38 points to the Utah Jazz. You know how many points the Celtics gave up to the Jazz during the first half in total? 36. So they gave up 2 more points during the third quarter alone than they gave up during the first half in total, and that was while the Jazz grabbed those 11 offensive rebounds. So this game did not come down to rebounding. I do understand, and I will acknowledge that the final bucket of the game did come off an offensive rebound, but that's it. Okay, they grabbed 4 offensive rebounds during the second half, the Utah Jazz. They scored 9 second chance points. So did the Celtics. The Celtics scored 9 second chance points too. So it's a wash. That one critical play did occur, so we can't just overlook that. But I do think Neemias Queta actually gave effort and did box out. The ball just didn't bounce Boston's way. It bounced right into Jusuf Nurkic's hand, and then he made a turnaround hook shot to put the Jazz in front. So to me, the game was lost in that third quarter when the Celtics had control coming out of halftime, and they gave it away by allowing the Jazz to score 38 points during the quarter. And meanwhile, the Celtics didn't have a whole lot of offensive firepower. They scored 26 points during the third quarter, but it wasn't very efficient. Shot only 39% from the field during that third quarter. I don't even want to say this number. 9.1% from three-point range during that third quarter, 1 for 11 from beyond the arc. So yes, they scored 26 points themselves, but they gave up 38. That's where the game was lost. You had control, you gave it away by not getting those stops in the third quarter. Let's move on. Jaylen Brown, I have to say this was one of the most impressive takeover performances of his career in a half of basketball. Like, he was trying to assert himself and basically saying, like, we are not losing this game. I am going to do everything we need me to do to win this game. And he almost did it. Listen, the Celtics were down by 11 points during the second half. Jaylen Brown is the guy who got them back into the game. I believe at one point he scored 11 straight points. Overall, during the second half, 16 points during the third quarter, 11 during the fourth quarter. That's 27 points during the second half alone. He was on fire and really just putting pressure on the defense when the ball got into his hands. He was 9 of 15 from the field during that second half, 9 of 9 from the free throw line. Got to give him an applause and applaud the way that he played during that second half to do everything he could to try to give the Celtics a chance to win. And he did give them a chance to win. They just didn't pull it off. They didn't grab the critical rebound. They did get the critical stop originally on the shot by Keontae George. They didn't grab the rebound, and then Nurkic was able to put it home. And then, obviously, Jaylen was called for the turnover on the final offensive possession of the night for the Boston Celtics. He committed a foul on a push-off. I don't think it was that egregious watching it back. It was a foul. The refs called it, but sometimes it might be a coin flip where the refs don't call that play, don't call that foul, and Jaylen Brown winds up getting a good quality look on that final possession. So I just got to say, like, Jaylen was awesome during this game. Finishes with 36 points on 13 of 28 shooting from the field. 4 assists during this game. He trailed only Derek White in that category on the team. Grabbed a couple of rebounds, 10 of 11 from the free throw line. The only area he had 2 steals during that stretch during the third quarter and fourth quarter where he was getting the Celtics back into the game. The only area where he did not play well was shooting from beyond the arc. He was 0 for 9. But that's the only area of the game where he did not play well. He asserted himself as the dominant player in this game. The rest, basically everywhere else in the box score, the entire rest of the game. It was just that three-point shooting that he just didn't have the rhythm tonight during this game against the Utah Jazz. Another thing we got to note is that Peyton Pritchard finally found his rhythm from downtown. We have not seen him shooting the ball the way that he typically does from long range. Well, we finally saw it tonight, so that was great to see. Finishes this game shooting 4 for 11 from long distance. Those 4 three-pointers are the most that he has made all season long in a game. Prior to tonight, he had not made more than 2 three-pointers in a game. He made 3 during the first half alone. So great to see Peyton Pritchard getting a little bit of rhythm from beyond the arc. Derek White also made 3 of his 8 shots from long distance. Not the best percentage there, but we're starting to see those 2 guys get a little bit of rhythm from long distance, and that is critical for Boston's offense that doesn't have the firepower that it's had in the past couple of years, the balance across the board. Well, they need those guys to shoot the ball well from distance. They started to do so tonight, combining to shoot 7 of 19 from long range. So that was great to see as well. Let's get into a couple of fan comments here. Quapt is chiming in on what the Celtics need to control while they are out there on the court. And then we've got Twerking Class Hero on Boston's poor shooting night. So Quapt, you're up first. Let's go. All right, here's the comment from Quapt after this game. He says, should not have been that close, but Utah dominated on the glass. That and the obvious 11 for 51 from deep. You can't control the officials, so you have to do well at what you can control. They didn't. It's as simple as that. So let's concentrate on a couple areas of this comment. First and foremost, Utah dominating the glass. Listen, I already commented on this during the open. I'm going to comment on it again here during this segment as well. I think the raw numbers say, yes, Utah dominated the glass. I think in the end they wound up out-rebounding the Celtics. Yeah, it was 55-36, so 19 more rebounds for the Jazz than the Boston Celtics. But if you really dig a little bit deeper, and in particular during the second half, when the game was decided during the second half, not the first half, Boston grabbed 12 rebounds during the second half. Utah grabbed 24, so they got doubled up. But let's keep diving deeper. Let's pull the layers back on this onion and not just look at the raw numbers here. This is why Utah doubled up the Boston Celtics in rebounding during the second half. Are you ready to understand why this happened? It's not because Boston just didn't rebound. It's because of this. Utah missed 13 shots during the second half. 13. Boston missed 24. So the Celtics missed 11 more shots than Utah during the second half. That right there is a huge chunk of that rebounding differential. It simply comes down to the fact that Utah shot 64% from the field during the second half, so they didn't miss much. So therefore, there weren't a lot of opportunities for the Celtics to grab rebounds. The Celtics did miss a lot because they shot only 44% from the field. Therefore, there were more opportunities for Utah to grab rebounds. Again, I'll reiterate that these two teams scored the exact same amount of second chance points during the second half, 9-9. This was simply about one team missed a lot more shots during the second half, and therefore the other team had more rebounding opportunities. So I don't think that this was a case of the Celtics just getting crushed on the glass and they can't control anything with their big men. No, it was that their offense missed shots at a far higher rate than the other team during the second half, and therefore the other team had more opportunities to rebound the basketball. The other part of this comment that I really want to zone in on is you can't control the officials, so you have to do well at what you can control. And yes, there were some whistles during that final minute that did not go Boston's way. There's no doubt about that. It happened. Like, there were some 50-50 plays, and the whistle went in Utah's favor. It happens. That's the NBA. So to Quapp's point, you've got to control what you can control. The Celtics can control turnovers. The Celtics can, to a degree, control their offense in creating and generating quality looks and making those shots. Those are things that you can control. You can't turn the ball over, especially in critical moments like on that final possession when Jaylen was called for the offensive foul, which I believe 50% of the time that gets called for a foul, 50% of the time it doesn't. It did tonight. But the other thing is just being able to control the offense and be able to get quality looks and make those shots. You can control if you make shots and don't make shots. You can't control how the whistle goes. So totally agree with Quapt on this comment of you've got to concentrate and control what you can control. This is something that Brad Stevens has been saying for years, dating back to his coaching time with the Boston Celtics. Control what you can control. Let the other chips fall as they may. The Celtics did not control what they could control tonight. They allowed 38 points during that third quarter to the Utah Jazz, and the Celtics just did not score with any efficiency during the second half. So those two areas really cost them this game. All right, second and final comment of the night. This is coming in from Twerking Class Hero, who says, this team is not going to win a lot of games shooting like that, with an exclamation point. Let's recap the numbers, okay? 11 for 51 from three-point range. That is 21.6%. That's not good enough. I agree with Twerking Class Hero in this comment. Boston's not going to win a lot of games when it shoots 20-ish% from long distance. No team in the league is going to win many games when you shoot 20-ish% from long distance. The Celtics need to take quality threes, and they need their big-time quality three-point shooters to make their shots at a high clip. Tonight, it didn't happen. The only one who did was Peyton Pritchard, 4 for 11 during this game. That's not even over 40%. We can all do the math there. That's about 37-ish% from three-point range. Derek White, 3 for 8. Jaylen Brown, 0 for 9. Sam Hauser, 1 for 8. Anthony Simons, 2 for 8. These are all the guys who need to carry the load from long distance. And they combine, I'm just going to do the math here quickly. 44, They took 44 combined three-pointers, and they made 10. 10 for 44, if my math serves me correctly here, on those 5 players. Jaylen Brown, Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, Sam Hauser, and Anthony Simons. Like, it's just not going to cut it. Those guys need to shoot at a higher clip from long distance for the Celtics to win games, because that's how they score. They score from three-point range. That's how those guys score, with the exception maybe of Jaylen Brown, who scores inside the arc and at the basket quite a bit, gets to the free throw line at a pretty high clip. The rest of those guys, their main portion of their offense is shooting from long range. So I have confidence that those guys are going to turn it around. It's not like they're not getting quality looks. They are getting quality looks. So they're going to make these shots. I've been saying this for a few games, like Derek White and Peyton Pritchard, number 1. Those guys haven't shot well this season. I said they're going to start to find a rhythm. They did a little bit tonight. Both of them shot in the mid-30s% from three-point range tonight. Now we got to get it just a little bit farther. And then we got to get the rest of the guys to shoot well on the exact same night. Okay, so are the Celtics going to win many games when they shoot 11 for 51 from three-point range? No. But I can tell you this, you can look around the entire league. There's 30 teams. Boston ain't the only one that's going to struggle if they shoot 20% from three-point range. Every team in the league is going to struggle to win games when they shoot 20% from long distance. So, are the Celtics going to be better from long distance? Yes, I promise you that. But tonight, they weren't. And that's what wound up being a major factor in them not being able to win this game. Now, what is the beautiful part of NBA basketball? There's always another game on the schedule. Boston is right back at it on the TD Garden court Wednesday night. They play host to the Washington Wizards at 7:30. That game will be broadcast on NBC Sports Boston. Let's hope that the Celtics can grab a win in that game, get back into the win column, and head out on the road for a 3-game road trip that hopefully will get them back to and back over the 500 mark. Again, the game is at 7:30 Wednesday night on NBC Sports Boston. Make sure you send in your comments after the final buzzer. You might wind up in the next episode of Sound Off. That's Wednesday night. In the meantime, have a great start to your week, folks, and I'll see you after the Wizards.